What's up, brothers? Hope everybody's doing well out there. Finally got some halfway decent weather out here, so I figured I'll come out here and shoot the shit with you guys for a little while. And, I didn't really have a particular agenda in tonight's video, but sometimes these end up being some of my most popular videos, when we just come out here in the driveway and have a conversation. So that's what we're going to do in tonight's video. Now, what I want to talk about in tonight's video is hopefully going to be something that'll be helpful for a lot of you guys out there. And I want to talk about what caused us to get where we're at. And what do I mean by that? Well, we live in a time period right now where men, particularly born in the 80s and 90s, were sold this dream or this idea of what the dating market would be like. And they coached you up on this dating market. And what you received was nothing like what they coached you up on. We went through so many changes. Guys just weren't ready for it. And the majority of men are just basically getting left out. It's the truth, right? So anyways, what caused us to get to where we're at? Well, about 50, 55, give or take, years ago, they pushed the sexual revolution, and they pushed no-fault divorce. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but simultaneously they pushed them at the same time. Prior to these two things being pushed, a man would meet a woman, probably 17, 18 years old. They'd get married, and they'd settle down, they'd start a family. That'd be the only person that they ever hooked up with. And because of that, you had good, strong, wholesome, loving, heartwarming families. And people didn't just run around and screw whoever they wanted. But when they pushed the sexual revolution, it turned the dating market into a giant swingers club. And, this kind of destroys people's ability to pair bond. When you're out there hooking up with people, it makes it more and more difficult for you to meet somebody that you love, that you care about, that you want to start a family with. You just disconnect easily. And I know a lot of people out there don't believe in pair bonding, but I, for one, can admit that when I was a virgin, it was very easy for me to fall deeply in love with a woman. And as I started hooking up with more and more women, I got quite desensitized. And I think anybody can admit that. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you to determine, but when it comes to the family, the nuclear family, it's definitely a bad thing. But anyways, while they're pushing that, simultaneously they push the no-fault divorce, which gives women massive financial incentives to divorce you. So not only do you guys have a weaker ability to pair bond, causing more arguments, causing you to think about your exes, think about all the other people that you've slept with, driving a wedge between you and your spouse. Not only do you have that, but now, if that woman decides she wants to divorce you, and for women out there, you have to understand, this is something that you're going to be tempted by. When a woman divorces a man, when she wants to file for divorce, she goes and she finds a powerful attorney. And that attorney will go to war against that man. Okay? We're talking alimony. We're talking child support. We're talking taking the kids away from him. We're talking taking his house away from him. You name it. We're talking screwing this man over. And to be honest, screwing the kids over in the process. And the woman actually gets an upgrade. She gets a lifestyle upgrade. She maintains the life that she had before, plus she can marry a new man and have his money too, right? And, it's almost hard to blame women when the system is designed that way. I mean, of course it's going to happen, right? But, those things took place. And there's really not much we can do about that. It is what it is. That's what we're stuck with. And here we are 2.5 generations later, finally starting to see, see the consequences, and they're not good. More and more people are staying single. More and more people are, getting STDs. More and more people are just miserable. And, there's really no going back, right? Until America just finally falls and is destroyed. Just a, pile of bricks, the aftermath. That's how it's going to be, right? So anyways, that's where we're at. That was the first thing that happened. The next thing that happened, and this stuff just started happening rapidly, right? When the internet came out and they introduced free porn to everyone. You got to think, free porn is only 15 years old. 20 years ago, you either had to buy a magazine, buy the DVDs. That's really your only options. And, that's just what it was. If you wanted to be the perverted dude that went to the 18 and older section in Blockbuster, and everybody's looking at you weird, like, what's this weirdo doing buying those pornos? You could be that guy, but it came at a cost, right? And most people frowned upon it, so people didn't do it. Well, now it's just free to everybody. You can watch the freakiest, most hardcore porn, get that dopamine hit, a stronger dopamine hit than actually getting laid, and it's free. What's that do to a man? One, it hypersexualizes his brain, but two, it makes him docile. If you were to ask a guy, what would you rather do? A grown-ass man. Would you rather go out with your friends and play tackle football on a cold Sunday afternoon, or would you rather watch football on TV, crack open a beer, and order a pizza? You'd rather watch the game, right? It's a lot easier. Well, if you were really to be honest, and you were to ask some guys, hey, would you rather go out to the club, spend hundreds of dollars, cold approach 25 women, get drunk, risk getting a DUI and all kinds of shit, and maybe get laid, or would you rather just crack open your laptop, watch some porn, and get it done in 15 minutes? Most people would probably lie and say they'd rather do the first, but in all actuality, they're doing the latter. They're doing the porn. So, that free porn for everybody really causes guys to lose that motivation to actually go out there and talk to women and hook up with them in the first place. And anybody out there that's tried the nofap and the semen retention, they can usually vouch for it. When you give that stuff up, your confidence goes up, your dopamine levels go back to normal, your voice gets deeper, you get stronger, you sleep better, you're more charismatic, everything in life is just a little bit better. Well, then, you don't really struggle with women anymore. Something clicks in your brain. You develop this sense of urgency. It's kind of like when you're living paycheck to paycheck and you can't really afford much. But an emergency comes up where you need thousands of dollars. You'll come up with that money. Why? Because you go into fight or flight mode. You can't fly. Flight is not an option. You have to stand there and fight. So you find a way to get it done. And when you do the nofap and the semen retention, you quit watching the porn. That's what your mind does in terms of dating and relationships. You get in there and you fight and you figure it out. You realize, if I'm going to solve this reproductive problem, it can't be through a laptop touching myself. It's going to actually be out there with a real woman. And all of a sudden you start to get results that you weren't really aware that you could get. Now, I guess that's up for you to decide that one. I'll just leave that one there. But personally, I think I do believe in free market capitalism. I believe that people should have the freedom to, put out whatever kind of content they want to put out. But, I think they should put some regulation on porn. I think it should be paid membership. If you want a membership to Pornhub, it should be $100 a month. So that way, After 2 years of being a porn addict, you got to look at your credit card, report and see, wow, I've spent well over $2,000 on this creepy porn addiction that I have. And that'd make you think twice about it. But if I ruled the world, that's what we would do with the porn problem. Anyways, that's one thing. That's the second thing, in my opinion, that's really slowing guys down, right? The third thing, and this is no secret, but it's the dating apps. Now, I never considered dating apps to be a problem, and the reason why is because I was one of the guys that was benefiting off of it. To be honest, if I were strictly to look at things from like a pickup artist type perspective, I've benefited from all of the things we've talked about in this video. But I'll put it like this: on the dating apps, I would go on there and I can pick what hair color I want, what height I want, what weight I want, what age I want, what race I want, what distance I want, within 20 miles. And I can find a girl of whatever type, I can invite her over and I can have sex with her. I thought that was normal. I thought every guy could do that. Until I started doing research and, I started to see this like black pill stuff and all this. And then I realized that 80% of men are completely invisible on the dating apps. And I've never considered myself a high value man or anything like that. I don't even know what any of that shit means. But, it really made me think. 80% of men go on there and get nothing but low self-esteem, devastation, heartbreak, and just constant disappointment. And that's crazy because we live in a global sexual marketplace and, a giant swingers party where 100% of women can just hook up with the top 20% of men on dating apps at will. And most of the top 20% of men, they're willing to pump and dump the women. They don't give a damn about what they're doing to society. They'll damage these girls. They'll, pump and dump them, damage goods, just send them back out to the streets. And, it's a problem, right? It is a problem. And I don't necessarily believe in the 80-20 rule, but on dating apps, it's definitely true, right? It's definitely something that happens. And people got to take that into consideration. So, I think everybody should stay off the dating apps. Whether you get good results or you get bad results. I think people should just abandon that shit and go out in public and start socializing. Because, if you're a guy that's not extremely physically attractive, like your pictures aren't great, you can still make an impact if you have charisma. If you're a guy that can talk a woman's panties off, you can still make that happen. But on the dating apps, you can't. And if you're a giga chad, you're not doing the world a favor, by going out and hooking up with a lot of women. It just doesn't really benefit the world. It does the opposite, actually. So, it'd be kind of nice if people would just abandon those things. Because ultimately, there's 3 different paths you can go. And you got to understand this. Now, path number 1 is the most popular path of modern men, and the Manosphere confirms that. And it's the pickup artist path, right? Most guys just want to learn game. They want to learn how to hook up with as many women as possible. And, that's just how they want to live their life. They understand morality is a thing of the past. Everybody's hooking up. Just adapt, get as much pussy as possible, and that's the life they want to live. But then they realize, they hit their 30s, they hit their 40s, and they realize maybe that wasn't the greatest decision, but they can't go back in time. And we have more women that are single, cat ladies. So anyways, that's one path that you can go. The second path, I would say is the MGTOW path. And I've never been one to disrespect MGTOWs because, to be honest with you, MGTOWs have rejected that first problem, the hookup culture and the no-fault divorce. They've definitely rejected that stuff. They've rejected, for the most part, the porn industry. They've rejected dating apps, and they've rejected all of it. But the problem is, when they reject it, and again, I respect the fact that they reject it, but the problem is, the men that are disciplined and strong enough to reject those things are the exact men that we need starting families and having a bunch of kids, right? Populating society with strong, disciplined people. But for the most part, these men are walking away saying, fuck this. Fuck this. It is not worth it, So it is what it is. I'm not going to diss them or anything like that, but it's up to you to decide if that's the solution that you think you should pick. And option number 3 would be, the traditional route, buck up and find yourself a wife, try to be the leader of that family, try to be a man that women respect, a man that a woman wants to marry and start a family with and build something with and buy a house with and grow old with, and raise children with. Maybe you can be one of the few that makes it out. But it's not going to be an easy task, that's for sure. The deck is stacked against you. And that's why we have this problem. That's why the Manosphere is as popular as it is. It's so popular, we have outsiders like Valuetainment, Andrew Tate, the Daily Wire. They're all trying to dip into the market, take a chunk of this market and make money off of it. But that's not what the Manosphere is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about making money off of men. It's supposed to be about educating them, waking them up, helping them get better results. And that's a reason why I don't sell the PUA courses and all that shit. Like, oh, here's how to bang 20 women in 1 week or whatever. I don't want to do that shit. Especially guys are charging like $1,000 for shit like that. And I'm not trying to, put myself above anybody else or anything like that. But I just think that's bullshit. When I see some of this shit, it's like, you guys are just fucking scamming men that don't know any better. A man that knows better ain't gonna pay $1,000 for a course. All right? That's just a fact. Like, that should be known. So the only guys that are willing to pay that bullshit price are guys that don't know any better. And that's what all these pickup artists and most of the dating coaches are doing. They're not really helping anybody. They're only feeding into the sex addiction, the narcissism, the greed, the gluttony, this desire for money and women. But at the end of the day, that stuff's probably not going to make you happy, But that's for you to decide, not me. All I'm going to do is lay out the facts for you, have conversations with you, and let you see what you're up against. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to wish you the best and hope it works out for you. But anyways, guys, looks like it's starting to get a little bit dark out here. I don't want to be out here when it gets totally dark and you can't see me anymore, so I guess I'll go ahead and shut this one off. But hope this video was somewhat informative. And I vouch to start making more of these videos. I've been kind of lazy, maybe a video once a week, once every 2 weeks. A lot of people have been sending requests, trying to get me back out there, making more videos. I've been on my other channel making the live streams inside in the nice, air-conditioned or heated office. But, I vouch that I'll come out here and make more of these videos and, have more enlightening conversations with you guys from here on out. We'll try to do at least 2 or 3 a week. So anyways, guys, I hope this video was somewhat informative, but I gotta bounce. Peace. Subscribe to the channel.
to the window, to the wall, until the sweat drops down my balls, until all you bitches crawl. Oh, skeet, skeet, goddamn.